Overnight, here's some big news. Tulsa's mayor has declared a civil emergency ahead of the president's rally tomorrow night. Supporters are already lining up, did as of yesterday at the arena, as more than 100,000 people could be in the vicinity.
Mark Meredith joins us live from Tulsa, Oklahoma, with more on the mayor's order. Hey, Mark.
Ainsley, good morning to you. Yesterday, we did see the people lined up outside the BOK Center right here behind me. As you can see, though, a much different story this morning because of what Steve was just mentioning, which is that curfew that went into effect. It pushed some of the supporters that are going into the rally back a few city blocks, and police, they're still setting up the barricades. There are still a lot of questions, though, about what things will look like, not only here, but a few blocks from here as this first rally will get underway tomorrow night, the first one since early March. The president had originally planned to host the campaign rally tonight on June 19th. However, he faced some criticism from Black America saying he was being insensitive to this date, so instead deciding to go ahead and push it back to tomorrow night. Now, what Tulsa will be looking like, we do know have some details. They include temperature checks at the door for those folks that'll be going inside. Hand sanitizer will be passed out, as well as masks. Of course, the big question, though, is how many people will choose to wear them inside the venue. Some of the president's top supporters say they have been eager to get back out here to hear directly from him. We are expecting a sold-out crowd pretty much here in Tulsa. But those folks that do go into the BOK Center, they will have to agree to a waiver to make sure that they don't hold the campaign, the president, or BOK Center liable for any of the coronavirus exposure that could happen. Health officials are certainly putting out that warning, and there are still a lot of questions about exactly what tomorrow night will look like. We'll simply have to wait to see to what tomorrow night may bring us. Guys, back to you.
All right, Mark Meredith, thank you very much. We want to bring in Brad Parscale now, the campaign manager for Trump-Pence 2020. Brad, good morning to you. What's your reaction to, you heard our reporter Mark Meredith there about the mayor issuing this curfew, this civil emergency. What are your thoughts?
Well, look, we've worked with the governor and the mayor. They've been great. They've been very helpful. And look, they're worried about the safety of everyone there, whether it's their citizens or those coming from out of town. And I congratulate him for trying to keep our people safe.
Sure. What the mayor's directive says, I have received information from the Tulsa Police Department and other law enforcement agencies that shows that individuals from organized groups who have been involved in destructive or violent behavior in other states are planning to travel to the city of Tulsa for purposes of causing unrest in and around the rally. Brad, it sounds like you're going to have some company. Are you worried about a confrontation where you've got people who are completely behind the president and then people who would like to stir things up?
You know, I've been here since day one, and I found all Trump supporters to be really, caring, loving people that care about this country. I think you see people coming in, they're trying to disrupt. They're trying to create scenes. They want to make internet moments. They want to do the things we see. I think you saw it in the president's Twitter account yesterday, the tweets he put out. They want that moment where CNN or some other fake news media can try to make it look like a Trump supporter is not a loving and caring person. And I have a great feeling that we're going to see 100,000 MAGA supporters down there just wanting to see this country reopen.
Okay, so Brad, let's talk about some of the polls. The Fox News polls show that Joe Biden is widening his lead over President Trump. I'll read just some of what some of the people that were polled were saying. The biggest motivation to vote for the president, 63% of Biden's supporters said that they're going to vote because they fear that Trump will win. 33% of Trump supporters said they fear Biden will win. Enthusiasm for the candidate. Biden supporters, 31% enthusiastic. Trump supporters, 62% enthusiastic. And then lastly, if they were voting today, they say 50% said Biden, 38% said Trump. Last month, 48% said Biden, and 40% said Trump. What's your reaction?
Well, first of all, being in the 2016 campaign, it was close to 150. I don't have the exact number. Public polls came out in the last 6 weeks. I think less than a handful of them showed the president winning. Most states like Michigan, Wisconsin, there was never one public poll that ever said we were winning. And guess what? The president won them. I've always said, and I said this in 2016, the public polling system's broken. We're underpolled. There's a large percentage of Trump supporters that fear, revival of someone saying to them, why would you be voting for Trump? And then you look at the enthusiasm gap. The president is going to turn out more voters. People aren't excited for Joe Biden. He's hiding in his basement. He doesn't want to come out. And his handlers can't even let him speak. And I think that's going to continue to show that the president has the right direction for this country, and he's going to win 4 more years. And our internal numbers continue to show the direction towards victory.
Brad, it's been 77 days since Vice President Biden held a press conference. Reporters like myself pay attention to these things. I want to take you, though, to the president's tweet, because you mentioned 2016. The president, then candidate Trump, released a list of his Supreme Court picks, and it was a very successful tactic. Now we have him tweeting that he will release by September 1st a new list of conservative Supreme Court justice nominees. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think this is one of the most important things that people across America need to know. Most likely the president get 1 or 2 more Supreme Court picks in another term. I think this is very crucial for the future of this country. It could support, having a conservative court for another generation. I think this is extremely important. Americans need to know, for whatever policy and whatever thing they think, one of the most important things the president can do is nominate people to the Supreme Court. And this president's already done 2 great picks. And I hope he can get 2 great picks in his second term as well, and I think it's one of the most important issues, and it's probably one of the most important of our lifetime.
I'm sure you were watching a couple of days ago, Brad, when Joe Biden came out of his basement and went and lambasted the president of the United States for the COVID response. That was not a press conference because reporters were not able to ask anything. Mr. Biden hasn't really presented himself to the press per se, and now I understand that your campaign has asked Rudy Giuliani to come on board and try to get the commission that handles the presidential debates to get more debates.
Yes.
Obviously, you want to present the contrast between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. How would you describe that contrast?
Well, first of all, Steve, I consider our people around the president's staff, I consider his people handlers. So they bring him up on stage, they tell him what to say, and hope to God nobody from press will ask him any questions, so we can actually see what's happening there. But I'll talk about the debates. What we see is them wanting to have debates after voting's already started. We're going to see probably some record mail-in voting, absentee votings this year because of COVID. I would like to see debates earlier. I'd like to see more of them. I'd like the American people to see the president versus Biden without the media filter, and what better way than to see him on stage, going mano a mano. And I think that's what America should see, and it should see that this president is as sharp as a tack and ready for 4 more years, and that Biden is, after multiple failed presidents, runs, he's just not all there anymore. And I feel sorry for him, and I hope Jill takes care of him, and we can see him live the rest of his life in peace.
So, Brad, there's censorship on the campaign trail among these social media outlets.